Okay everyone, welcome to part 2. The next thing we're going to do is even out her skin tone a bit and do that fake powder effect. Let's make sure our layer's highlighted and zoom in. You can see how we were in the sun and this side of her face was getting more sunlight than this side. And doing that will not only even out our skin tones, but it will smooth her skin. So we're going to take our eyedropper tool, and on this side of the face that has a good skin tone, we're going to sample a color. And you see our color picker change to that color. We're going to go down here and we're going to create a new blank layer. We're going to go up to our brush and choose brush tool and pick a nice soft edge brush. And you're going to need to drop your opacity down. Let's say on about 19 or 20. We want it to show for the effect of the tutorial. You can always go low and then kind of build up. Let's start up here on her forehead and see what we get. And you can see how it is smoothing out the areas. You don't want to go too small with your brush. I'm going to move my image up. Paint on this side of her face that was blown out. And see, it's going to kind of cover that bad spot on her chin that we didn't clean up too good. Let's do under her eyes. And you never want this to completely go away, because a normal person is going to have some, that was too much, let's undo. We'll have some wrinkles under their eyes. Let's paint it on her nose, because her nose was pretty blown out. Move my image up and we'll do here under, around her lips. On her chin, over here on her cheek. You see these natural wrinkles? We just kind of take that away. Some cases that may be good. Some cases you may kind of have to go and put some of those normal shadows back in. Let's zoom in real tight. And go under here so it evens it out. And you're pretty much adjusting your brush depending upon how zoomed in you are and what kind of areas that you're working in. Okay, let's zoom out and kind of look at it. It looks kind of bad right here. So let's even that out just a bit. And I think I want to do a little bit right under her eyes. That may have been too much. Okay, now you can see over here where it's kind of gone into her hair. Oh shucks, I didn't check my time. When we turn that layer off, this is what we have. I'm going to create a layer mask. And doing that, it pretty much goes to black and white. And I want to hide all this where we overlapped. So I'm just going to go back in. My brush is pretty low. Let's run it back up a bit. And make sure we clean that off. Oh, look right here. About to ask, you see any other places that I missed? Let's take this down a bit. Way down here. Let's smooth this out. Okay, so I'm going to call this done. This is our before, and this is our after, and it looks really severe. We're going to zoom out a little bit. And the beauty about this is we're going to drop our opacity down on this whole layer, and you can click here and move it down. But if you go in between right here, you get that little scrubby slider, and you can just move it like that. So let's see what it looks like now. This was before, and this is after. I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to merge this layer down with Control E. And our next thing we're going to do is run our action, and that needs to be on the background layer. So we're going to merge our layers back down again, which is Control E. Go. So now it shows our it shows as a background layer, and it is called Coffee Shop Velvet Cream. It's a free action over at the Coffee Shop blog, and we're going to hit play. It's going to say welcome, and we're just going to hit OK, and it's going to run. Now, the thing about an action is it's completely adjustable. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off all our layers and go in and pick the ones we want to keep. Let's zoom out a little bit. This layer sharpens. See the edges of her hair. And if we turn the layer off, and I like the sharpening effect on her face, but I don't like what it did to her hair. So what I'm going to do is take my layer mask. I'm going to fill that with black, which is going to hide the entire effect. The shortcut for that is Alt Backspace. You can also use the paint bucket tool. We just have to find it. Look, paint bucket tool. Click on here, and it'll hide it. Now you see the mask is black. We're going to select a brush. Maybe not quite that big. And we're just going to paint. We have to be on white, because black hides, white reveals. And we're going to paint white back over her face. Oh, we have a low brush. Well, you're learning a lot of things. Okay, now here we go. Okay, now here's our layer mask. If you want to see exactly what your layer mask looks like, you can hold down the Alt key and click on the layer mask, and this is what you get. So if you were doing something and you want to see if you missed any spots, this is a great way to check. We'll hit Alt and click, and it'll go away, the mask. Okay, here's our next layer. I think I'm going to leave that layer off. I think I'm going to leave that layer off. And it's kind of a little contrast pop here. I'm looking at the tones that it does in her hair. And it darkens it a bit, but I'm okay with that. We're going to leave the yellow cast because that's really in, and that was kind of the effect we're going for. Now we're going to go back and check. I think that's too much. So these are the only 3 layers that I'm going to use from the action. I'm going to highlight the top layer, and I'm going to hit Shift, Control, Alt, and E all at the same time, and it's going to combine all of those layers into a new layer. So we're going to highlight this one and Shift click on this one and select Delete Layers. So we now have our beginning and then where we are now before we ran the action. I'm not sure how I'm doing on time, and I can't go over 10 minutes. The next part is we're going to do some burning around the face to bring back some of those natural curves. So I'm going to do it this way. We'll create a new blank layer. We'll go up to Edit, Fill, select 50% gray in your drop down box, and make sure Preserve Transparency is not checked. And we'll click OK. Then you go up and you change this blend mode to Overlay. We select our Burn tool, just here, Burn tool. You want it set to midtones at about 13%. And we're going to make our brush just a hair bigger. And I'm just going to run it back along the kind of normal contours that her face had before we took all that away. It was a little bit darker here, a little darker here. Bring in, kind of burn where the hollows of her cheek would be. Put some of those natural shadows back. Let's see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to burn this eyebrow. The other one doesn't really need it. I'm going to burn some more on the side. Okay, so this is where we are. This is before our burn layer, and this is after. And if we zoom out, you'll see this is before and this is after. So it brings some emphasis back to her face. You can always drop the opacity. Sometimes I tend to go overboard and just to see where I'm working. And this way I know, well, okay, I can drop the opacity and I'll still be okay. Let's see if we want to leave it. I'm kind of okay with leaving it where it is. I'm going to do Control E and merge down. And I think I'm out of time. This will be the end of this section.